Good morning, students. Today's lesson is about responsibility. The name of the story is It Was My Fault. What do people tend to do when they are surprised while doing something improper? Generally, they look for a way to blame someone else, right? When one is the person at fault, what is the proper behavior? Juan Carlos and Julia were cousins. Both had been good friends since they were little and would meet during every vacation at Paul and Dora's home, their grandparents. The home was big and had an enormous yard where the grandfather planted beans, corn, and squash. Likewise, the grandmother had a well-kept garden where she cultivated lettuce, cabbage, tomatoes, carrots, radishes, cucumbers, eggplant, and other vegetables that the children enjoyed picking and eating later. Vacations were fun at the grandparents' home. Juan Carlos and Julia ran, climbed trees, slid down a mound of dirt on cardboard, ate tangerines, and played with Pingo and Dolly, their grandparents' dogs. They always made up a different game. At times, the grandparents would take them for a walk on the path that ran along the train tracks. In addition, they would take the dogs, which made the walk much more fun. At night, their grandfather would show a lovely movie for them to watch. How they wished that their vacation would never end. Of course, they also helped at household chores, dry the dishes, sweat, put things in their place to help make the bed. In the storage room, there was a go-kart that belonged to Uncle Paul. They wanted to play with the car, but their grandmother had not given them permission to use it while she was not present. As it was old, the brakes did not work well, and she was afraid that they would get hurt. On one of those hot days, Juan Carlos and Julia were tired of running around the yard and decided to ask their grandmother for permission to play with the go-kart. But she was busy preparing lunch. They were very eager to play with the car, but they knew they should obey their grandmother. Then Julia suggested that they play for a bit in the rear part of the house. Since, if their grandmother's concern was the brakes, no danger existed there since it was flat terrain. So without their grandmother looking on, they took the car over there and started to play. Their grandfather had given their grandmother a beautiful rooster. It was called Nino, and the grandmother was very fond of it. Despite its aggressiveness, they had become good friends, and it ate from the palm of her hand. Unfortunately then, for Juan Carlos, right at the very moment that Julia pushed the go-kart with her cousin sitting on, the rooster crossed their path. Having no brakes, the go-kart ran over the rooster, which let out a moan and fell dead on the ground. "What now, Julia? What are we gonna do? Grandmother and grandfather will be very angry with me." Both kept thinking about how they would solve the problem. They could not remain calm and pretend that they had not seen the rooster die, or they could take it to their grandmother, saying they had found it that way. While deciding on the best option to solve the problem, Juan Carlos sighed deeply and said, "I know what I'm gonna do now." "What?" Julia wanted to know. "I will tell grandmother the truth myself," Juan Carlos asserted with conviction. "Are you going to tell her that you were the one who killed Nino?" With curiosity, Julia insisted. "Yes, I will. Why wasn't I the one anyhow?" Julia thought for a moment and dejectedly responded, "I am also responsible. It was my idea to play with the car. Both of us disobeyed, and both of us should apologize to grandmother." So they went to speak to their grandmother, who, with much love and patience, said to them, "Dear children, in spite of the sadness caused by the death of my rooster, I am very proud of you. You disobeyed, yet you have both assumed responsibility for what you did. I saw everything that happened without you being aware of it. I was just waiting for you to come to talk to me. You are forgiven. Try being obedient next time." Juan Carlos and Julia left feeling relieved. They had learned their lesson. That's it for today, students. Hope you enjoyed the story and learned its moral. God bless. Have a great day.